Welcome to another deep dive. It looks like this time you've been really digging into all things ChatGPT, Wikipedia, Reddit threads, you name it.
Yeah, it seems like ChatGPT's got everyone talking. And for
Mm.
good reason. There's a lot to unpack there.
For sure. So maybe we could start with just a quick overview, for anyone who might be new to this whole thing. What exactly is ChatGPT?
Well, ChatGPT is this really powerful AI chatbot. It was developed by OpenAI, and it's basically designed to understand and generate like really human-like text, which is kind of what sets it apart from, say, your Siri or Alexa.
Okay, so it can chat like a human. Got it. But what else can it do?
Well, that's the thing. It's not just a chatbot. It's more like, I don't know, a multi-tool. It can write poems, compose music, even debug code, answer test questions, things like that. Heck, it can even simulate an entire Linux system.
Whoa, okay, so it's like having a super smart assistant. No wonder people are calling this an AI boom. But ChatGPT's been around for a while now, right? Since, what was it, November 2022?
That's right.
So what's changed since then?
A lot, actually. When it first launched, it was all about text. But now, with the GPT-4 model, it can process images, audio, even video.
So it's gone from writing text messages to understanding YouTube videos. That's a huge leap.
It really is. And that's kind of what's fueled this massive investment we're seeing in AI. And it's definitely sparked some big questions about the future of work, creativity, even what it means to be human.
Okay, so big questions for sure. And I think one of the things that I found really interesting, going through all the stuff you sent me, the articles, the threads, was this whole issue of how ChatGPT is actually trained. I mean, we know it's trained on massive amounts of data, but that Time Magazine article you shared, it kind of revealed some pretty disturbing details about that process.
Right, yeah, it's not exactly a feel-good story. OpenAI, they outsourced the task of labeling harmful content, to
Yeah.
train the safety systems. And they used Kenyan workers, paid them less than $2 an hour.
Which is, yeah, I mean, it's incredibly low.
It is. And on top of that, the material they were exposed to, it was really graphic and disturbing. Not good.
So, yeah, definitely raises some serious ethical concerns, especially given how much OpenAI is now profiting from ChatGPT.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, on the one hand, it's important for an AI to be able to recognize and avoid harmful content, but it shouldn't come at the expense of exploiting workers.
Right, absolutely. There's got to be a better way.
Agreed.
So, okay, powerful tool, obviously, but, definitely important to acknowledge the human cost behind its development.
For sure. It's a good reminder that technology, even something as advanced as AI, is still a reflection of the choices we make as humans.
Right, absolutely. And speaking of choices, I guess maybe we could shift gears a little and talk about what ChatGPT can actually do, its strengths, its limitations.
Yeah, totally. So, I mean, one of the things ChatGPT does really well is emulating human conversation. It's actually designed to be more truthful and less harmful than its predecessor, which was InstructGPT. And they're constantly refining it, to make it more accurate and reliable.
So the goal is for it to be a helpful, informative tool.
Exactly. And it's surprisingly versatile. I mean, it can translate languages, write different kinds of creative content, even help with software development.
Okay, that's impressive. But I've also heard about ChatGPT's tendency to hallucinate, meaning it can generate information that sounds plausible but is actually incorrect.
Yeah, that's definitely a limitation. It's all about how it's trained, right, on this massive amount of data. And sometimes it kind of gets things mixed up. Like, think of it as a giant library where all the books are jumbled up. You can find amazing information, but sometimes it creates a book with a made-up ending.
So I should take everything it says with a grain of salt.
Pretty much, yeah. Especially if you're using it for anything important. Always double check.
Makes sense. So helpful tool, creative tool, but don't blindly trust everything it says.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, we can't talk about ChatGPT without talking about its potential rival, DeepSeek. This seems to be the hot topic on every Reddit thread I've seen. What's the deal with this DeepSeek thing?
Yeah, DeepSeek is definitely shaking things up. It was developed by this Chinese corporation, Highflyer, and it's basically like a hybrid search engine and knowledge base. It pulls real-time information from websites and offers these expert insights. Oh, and the best part, it's completely free.
Free. Okay, that's a pretty bold move, especially considering how much ChatGPT charges for its premium features.
For sure. And it's all because of how DeepSeek learns. It uses this thing called self-reinforced learning, meaning it basically learns from the data itself without humans telling it what's right or wrong.
So it's like a self-taught student just figuring things out on its own.
Basically. And that approach, it really cuts down development costs,
Yeah.
so they can offer it for free.
Okay, that's a game changer. But, I mean, does it really perform as well as ChatGPT? I feel like those Reddit threads are kind of divided on that.
Right. It's still early.
Yeah.
And we don't know a ton about how DeepSeek is trained, which worries some people. The data camp article you shared, it actually points that out, right?
Uh-huh.
We know way less about its decision-making process compared to ChatGPT.
Right, right. Okay, so we've got these two very different approaches. ChatGPT with its human-guided learning and DeepSeek with its self-reinforced approach. It's like a battle for AI supremacy.
It really is. And honestly, I think it's good for users like you and me. The competition pushes both companies to get better, to offer more powerful and accessible tools.
Okay, so we've got the landscape. We've got ChatGPT, the more established player, facing this challenge from DeepSeek. Now let's get into the nitty-gritty. What are people actually saying about how these two perform in real-world tasks, like coding, for example?
Well, with the coding, there are people on Reddit who are saying DeepSeek blows ChatGPT out of the water. But then others are saying, hey, it's just hype because it's free. The DataCamp article, though, they actually tested both of them. They had them write a basic calculator plugin for WordPress.
Oh, so like a head-to-head coding challenge. Cool. Who won?
It's kind of a mixed bag. DeepSeek was super fast,
Mm-hmm.
like spit out functional code way faster than ChatGPT, but it placed the calculator in the website's footer, which isn't super practical.
So speed over practicality in that case. What about ChatGPT?
ChatGPT took longer,
Hmm.
but it created a plugin that could be embedded like anywhere on the website using a shortcode. So more flexibility there.
Okay, so it's a trade-off.
Mm.
DeepSeek for speed, ChatGPT for like customization. That's really useful to know for anyone thinking about using these tools for web development.
Totally. And I think it just highlights how important it is to, to really understand the strengths and weaknesses of each platform. Pick the right tool for the job.
Right, right. Okay. Now, beyond coding, I've seen a lot of talk about content creation. Like, can these AIs write good blog posts, outlines, things like that?
Yeah, DataCamp tested that too. They had both platforms create a blog post outline for an online athletic shoe store.
Yeah.
And interestingly, both did pretty well, but they had different styles.
Oh, okay. Different styles, huh? Tell me more.
So people thought DeepSeek's outline was more engaging and informative, while ChatGPT's was more focused on like creating opportunities for product links.
Interesting. So DeepSeek goes for engagement, ChatGPT goes for like the hard sell. Again, different tools for different jobs.
Exactly. It shows the different priorities behind each platform.
Okay. Now, what about market research? It seems like AI could be really useful for that, right?
You'd think so, but there are limitations. Both DeepSeek and ChatGPT have said they don't have access to real-time info. DeepSeek's knowledge cutoff is July 2024, and even ChatGPT Plus, you're limited to September 2021.
So if I want to know about like current events, trending keywords, the latest data, they're not going to be much help.
Not really. But they can still help with, brainstorming ideas,
Right.
creating buyer persona profiles, things like that, based on what they DO know.
Right, right. Okay, so they can't give you up-to-the-minute insights, but they can still help you understand like general customer demographics, motivations, stuff like that.
Right. DataCamp even found that both platforms could generate pretty insightful buyer persona profiles. They
Yeah.
tested them with organic dog food.
So even with the limitations, ChatGPT and DeepSeek could be really valuable for anyone in marketing or market research.
Definitely. And I think the fact that DeepSeek offers this level of performance for free, it's a kind of a disruptor.
Sure.
It's making the whole AI industry rethink pricing and accessibility.
Okay, wow. This is getting really interesting. We've covered a lot of ground, but I know there's still so much more to unpack.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe in part two, we could take a deeper dive into ChatGPT's impact on different fields, like I don't know, academic research, computer security, things like that.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. Well, we'll see you there.
Welcome back to our deep dive on all things ChatGPT. In part one, we talked about, its evolution, its capabilities, and of course that rivalry with DeepSeek that's heating up.
Yeah, things are getting interesting in the AI world for sure.
For sure. So I thought maybe in this part, we could kind of shift gears a bit and look at how ChatGPT is making waves in different fields, like economics, for example.
Economics. Okay, that's interesting. I mean, that's a pretty complex field, right? Are people really using AI to analyze economic trends, make investment predictions?
Oh, yeah. Some financial experts are actually saying that ChatGPT could, totally revolutionize how we forecast economic trends and manage investment portfolios.
Wow. Okay. That's a pretty bold statement. But I mean, I also imagine there are some concerns, right, about relying on AI for financial advice. I mean, the stock market is notoriously unpredictable.
Right, you got to be careful. I mean, ChatGPT can definitely analyze tons of financial data and identify potential investment opportunities, but it's still limited by what it knows, right?
Hmm.
It can't predict like those unexpected events, the black swan scenarios that can really throw things off.
Right, right. Like, I don't know, a global pandemic,
Exactly, or a sudden shift in, geopolitical power.
things that nobody sees coming.
Right, those kinds of events can just completely disrupt even the most sophisticated financial models.
So, okay, ChatGPT might be a useful tool for like exploring trends and stuff, but it's not a crystal ball.
Nope.
Human judgment is still essential.
Absolutely. It's about, using AI to augment our understanding, not replace human decision-making altogether.
Right. Okay, so economics, that's one area where ChatGPT is making waves. What about education? I feel like that's another field that's been kind of, shaken up by ChatGPT.
Definitely. There's a lot of excitement, but also some anxiety
Mm-hmm.
about how it's going to impact the way students learn.
Yeah, I can see that.
It's kind of a mixed bag, you know. On the one hand, it could be a really great tool for personalized learning. It can provide customized feedback, support, things like that. But on the other hand, there are these concerns about cheating, plagiarism,
Hmm.
and whether AI could stifle students' critical thinking and writing skills.
Right. It's almost like, I don't know, the debate about calculators in math class, but taken to a whole new level.
It is.
Hmm.
And the challenge for educators is, like, how do you integrate these tools responsibly? Some schools have actually banned ChatGPT outright, while others are trying to figure out how to use it to enhance learning without, sacrificing academic integrity.
Right, right. It's tricky. And the Wikipedia article mentioned that OpenAI is even working on tools to help educators detect AI-generated
Yeah,
text.
there's a constant game of cat and mouse.
Yeah.
But it just shows how the world of education is, trying to adapt to this rapidly changing tech landscape.
Right. It's about finding that balance, I guess, between embracing innovation and upholding the core values of education. Okay, so we've got economics, we've got education. Now, what about culture? I mean, it seems like ChatGPT is also changing how we create and experience art, music, literature, even film.
It is. It really is. And it's interesting because some artists are actually embracing AI. They're using ChatGPT as like a collaborative tool to generate ideas, experiment with new styles, even co-create entire works.
So it's like, I don't know, an AI muse, pushing creative boundaries, sparking new possibility.
Totally. But there's also this sense of unease among some artists. Like they see AI as a threat to human creativity. They worry about things like homogenization, plagiarism,
Hmm.
the devaluation of artistic skill.
Right, yeah. I mean, if AI can generate a painting that looks like a Picasso or write a song that sounds like, I don't know, Bob Dylan, what does that mean for human expression?
It's a valid concern. And actually, the Wikipedia article is this really interesting example. The musician Nick Cave, he was asked about a song that ChatGPT wrote in his style, and he called it a grotesque mockery of what it is to be human.
Wow, okay, so he's not a fan.
Nope. And I think it kind of highlights this fear that AI-generated art, it might lack that soul, that emotion, the lived experience that makes human creativity so compelling.
Hmm.
But then again, there are also examples of AI creating amazing visual art, composing original music, even writing entire screenplays.
Right, their article even mentioned that film, The Last Screenwriter, that was marketed as being entirely written by AI.
The wild.
So AI is already making its mark on the entertainment industry.
It is. And it just raises so many questions about the future of art. Will AI just mimic existing styles, or will it lead to totally new forms of creative expression? We don't know yet.
It's definitely a fascinating time to be following all this. It seems like every day there's a new example of how AI is impacting the world of culture, for better or worse.
Totally. And that's kind of what makes this whole conversation so important, right? It's
Yeah.
not just about the tech itself, but about how it's changing how we create, experience, and value art.
Right. And speaking of impact, I mean, the Wikipedia article also talked about like the reception ChatGPT has gotten worldwide. I mean, it's been praised as a breakthrough, banned in some countries, even investigated for potential misuse. It's been a wild ride.
It really has. I mean,
Yeah.
ChatGPT has been called the best AI chatbot ever released, but it's also faced a lot of scrutiny, right, for its potential role in spreading misinformation, even being used for like state-backed influence operations.
Which is, yeah, that's pretty concerning. It's like AI can be this powerful tool for good, but it can also be used for, for bad. It all depends on who's wielding it.
Exactly. And that's why all these conversations about AI ethics, responsible development, they're so crucial. We need to establish, guidelines and safeguards to make sure these technologies are being used for the benefit of society, not for harm.
Right. The Wikipedia article mentioned that OpenAI actually had to remove accounts linked to China, Russia, and Israel that were using ChatGPT for propaganda purposes. So yeah, it's a reminder that we can't just focus on the potential. We've also got to think about the risks.
For sure. As AI becomes more sophisticated, it's essential to have those ethical frameworks in place.
Yeah.
Regulations, things like that. We want to make sure AI is used to empower humanity, not manipulate or control it.
Absolutely. Okay, so ChatGPT is definitely making its presence felt across a wide range of fields. Economics, education, culture, even global politics. It's a powerful tool with the potential to reshape how we live, work, interact with the world.
Definitely.
But I think it's also important to remember, even with all the hype, ChatGPT still has its limitations. We talked about the whole hallucination thing earlier, but are there other things that ChatGPT just can't do, no matter how advanced it gets?
Well, one of the biggest limitations is that, like all current AI models,
Mm-hmm.
ChatGPT doesn't really understand things. Like, it can process language, generate text that sounds like human communication, but it doesn't actually grasp the meaning behind the words or, the complexity of human thought and experience.
Right. So it can write a poem about love, but it doesn't actually feel love. It's just like working with patterns in the data.
Exactly. It's like a parrot mimicking human speech, but without understanding what the words actually mean.
Right, right.
And that lack of true understanding, it leads to other limitations. ChatGPT can struggle with things that require like common sense reasoning, emotional intelligence, or, just the ability to adapt to new situations that fall outside its training data.
So it can answer factual questions, write creative text, but it's not going to replace human intuition, empathy, or, just that ability to think outside the box.
Not anytime soon. And that's really important to remember, with all this hype, these are powerful tools, but they're not a replacement for human intelligence, creativity, or ethical judgment.
Okay, good point. And speaking of ethical judgment, it kind of brings us back to DeepSeek. Does its self-reinforced learning approach, does that raise any unique ethical considerations compared to, ChatGPT's more human-guided training?
That's a tough question. It's complex. With self-reinforced learning, the AI is basically learning from its own actions and feedback, which can lead to, some unpredictable outcomes. So it definitely raises questions about transparency and accountability. Like, how can we understand how the AI is making decisions if we don't fully grasp the process?
Right. It seems like the more autonomous AI becomes, the more we need to have these open discussions about, its ethical development and deployment.
Absolutely. It's not just about creating powerful AI. It's about creating AI that aligns with our values, that contributes positively to society. And that requires a lot of, ongoing dialogue and collaboration between developers, researchers, policymakers, the public, everyone, really.
Right. Everyone has a stake in this. Okay, so ChatGPT and DeepSeek. They represent two different approaches to AI development, each with its own strengths, weaknesses, and ethical considerations.
For sure.
And it's just fascinating to see how they're both, pushing the boundaries of what's possible while also raising all these important questions about the future of this technology.
Definitely. And ultimately, it's up to us as users and as a society to engage in these conversations and shape the future of AI in a way that, benefits everyone. But I think we've probably covered enough for this part.
Yeah, we've definitely gone deep.
We have. Maybe in part 3, we can take a closer look at some of the specific features that make ChatGPT unique, like that GPT store we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, the GPT store. That sounds pretty interesting.
It is. It's a wild world in there.
All right, we'll see you there. All right, welcome back to our deep dive. We've been talking all about ChatGPT, its capabilities, its limitations, even the competition it's facing. But now I kind of want to zoom in on some of the stuff that makes ChatGPT unique.
Okay, yeah, what were you thinking?
Well, in that Wikipedia article, there was this mention of something called the GPT store.
Oh, yeah.
What is that exactly?
It's basically like an app store, but for ChatGPT.
Yeah.
So instead of just using the regular, the standard ChatGPT, you can find all these custom chatbots that people have made. They call them GPTs.
GPTs. Okay, so I could get one that's specifically designed to help me write better emails or, I don't know, brainstorm business ideas.
Exactly. And the crazy thing is, you don't need to know any coding to make these. OpenAI has this tool, GPT Builder. It's pretty easy to use.
Wow. So it's like democratizing AI, putting the power to create these bots in anyone's hands.
That's the idea. And people are already going wild with it. The store launched in January 2024, and within like 2 days, there were already virtual girlfriend bots popping up.
Virtual girlfriends. Okay, that's both impressive and a little creepy. I mean, people are really pushing the boundaries with this.
Yeah, no kidding. It definitely raises some ethical questions about, AI companions and potential for misuse. But beyond the romantic side, there are GPTs for just about everything. Education, finance, even helping you write that novel you've been putting off.
It's amazing how fast this tech is moving. I mean, I remember when ChatGPT first came out, we were all just impressed it could write a decent poem. Now we've got custom chatbots, voice interaction, the whole 9 yards.
It's incredible. And speaking of advancements, we should mention ChatGPT Pro. OpenAI just launched it, December 2024. It's a cool $200 a month.
$200 a month. So what do you get for that hefty price tag?
Well, the big thing is access to their most advanced model, O1. It's designed to, actually think before responding. And it has this pro mode that has even more computing power. Supposedly, it gives you even better answers.
So it's like the souped up, sports car version of ChatGPT for those who need the absolute best.
Good analogy.
Yeah.
And this whole subscription model, it seems like that's the trend in AI now.
Hmm.
These models are getting so complex, they cost more to run, so companies are trying to figure out how to make money.
Right. It makes sense from a business standpoint, but
Yeah.
it also raises this question of, accessibility. Not everyone can afford a $200 monthly subscription.
Yeah, that's a good point. As AI becomes more ingrained in our lives,
Mhm.
we've got to make sure everyone has access, right? We don't want a world where only the wealthy can benefit from these advancements.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, so we've got free versions, paid subscriptions, custom chatbots. It's a lot to keep track of. But I think no matter what version of ChatGPT you're using, or even if you're exploring DeepSeek, other platforms, the takeaway is clear. AI is changing things
Yeah.
fast, and we need to be prepared to navigate this new landscape.
I totally agree. And I think that's really what this whole deep dive has been about, giving people the knowledge to do just that. We've gone from the technical stuff, how these AIs work, to the bigger picture, the ethical and societal implications.
It's been a wild ride. But honestly, it feels like we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to learn and understand about AI and how it's impacting our world.
Absolutely. It's an ongoing conversation.
Yep.
And, we encourage everyone to keep asking questions, stay curious, get involved in the discussions that are shaping the future of this technology.
Because in the end, the future of AI isn't just about algorithms and data sets. It's about the choices we make, the values we embed in these powerful tools.
Well said. I think that's a great place to wrap up. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of ChatGPT. Hopefully you found it insightful and maybe even a little thought-provoking.
And until next time, keep exploring.